Hello and welcome to another episode of Worlds Collide. I'm your host, Justin.
And I'm Mitch.
And this is Season 2, Episode 24, Captain America.
The First Avenger. Although, I don't know how accurate the First Avenger is.
Very inaccurate. Very inaccurate. He was like... Well, okay, who was the... We have Hulk.
Yeah. Iron Man.
Ant-Man.
Wasp.
And then came Cap.
Yeah.
With Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver.
Yeah. Well, Scarlet Witch Quicksilver came
after Cap.
Yes.
And there was one more, I think, but I can't remember who.
Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch came in with Hawkeye.
That was the one I was missing. You got it. Nailed it. So, we bring you the so-called First Avenger based on our MCU movie lineup.
Yeah.
His standalone movies, he got 3.
Yes.
So, First Avenger.
Well, standalone. He got one standalone movie.
One standalone, and then started throwing in some other sidekicks, heroes, villains, etc.
Yeah.
So, if we start order of operation, First Avenger.
Yep.
Which came out after Iron Man.
Yep. And
After Thor, okay. So,
and after The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton.
Then we're not going to talk about that. So
it is canon.
It is canon. Is it?
Yeah.
That's part of this universe? Yeah. That was Ed Norton was supposed to be the Hulk that we got?
Yeah. That is part of the MCU. At the end of that movie, Nick Fury shows up, and the guy who plays General Ross in that movie is the guy who plays General Ross in Civil War.
Wow. It never dawned on me that is canon.
Yeah.
So, First Avenger.
Yeah.
Succeeded by Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And then the third one was
Civil War.
Yes. And that was that was Captain America's.
Yes.
But there was the big event culmination.
Yes.
Ultron, I believe.
Yeah. After Ultron. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's the cinematic universe Captain America history, starring Chris Evans, a.k.a. Human Torch.
Yeah, and then that continued on into Infinity War in Endgame.
Yeah. Now, admittedly, when the First Avenger first came out, I wasn't sold on Chris Evans as Captain America, because in my mind, Captain America... Hey, crew!
Silu!
Is that how you pronounce it? Silu? Clue?
Yeah. Silu.
Silu? Alright.
Clue! Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, but I wasn't much of a fan of the First Avenger. It's not that I wasn't a fan. The movie was well done, and as good as they could have for what they were trying to bring out, which was an origin of Captain America.
Yeah.
Hugo Weaving as Red Skull was good casting. He did really good Red Skull.
Played Elron and Agent
Smith.
Agent Smith.
Yes.
I was blanking on the damn name.
Yeah.
Great actor, though.
Wait, is Neo? No, it's Mr.
Neo.
Anderson and Agent Smith.
Yes.
But it is, yeah. Hugo Weaving played Red Skull. He did an excellent job. It was Chris Evans, and I wasn't quite sold as Captain America, because to me, in my mind, Captain America is somebody who's sure about every action he does. Every action he does, he doesn't question. He doesn't doubt. Everything he does, he is 100% sure of what he is doing. And I didn't get that from Chris Evans.
Not at first.
No.
But
even by the first Avenger, I didn't really see him as that leader that Captain America should be.
The first Avengers movie, you mean?
Yeah.
See, I look at it as a hero journey.
Yeah.
And that was phase 1.
Yeah.
And you can't be the end hero in phase 1.
No.
So I that's my silver lining. I'll give it the credit.
Yeah, because admittedly, by Winter Soldier, Chris Evans became Captain America.
Hell yeah. Well, here's the other thing that didn't help. Doing with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we've already been giving Fantastic Four with Chris Evans appearing as the Human Torch.
That's right.
And that is very conflicting, because when you go back in Captain America, the Human Torch...
Admittedly, if you do a side-by-side comparison between Chris Evans as Human Torch and Chris Evans as Captain America, Chris Evans as Captain America got beefy.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Human Torch was scrawny, but Is that not one of the original wartime heroes that
No,
fought right alongside Captain America?
That's what I was going to say.
Super conflicted.
It's kind of like we should come up with some kind of theory as to how Human Torch becomes Captain America by traveling back in time as himself.
Well, it was a robot. It was an android, was it not?
That's right.
So, what better than to engineer this android Human Torch with superpowers after Captain America? Of course, but no one knows Captain America's real identity.
And the body of that Human Torch, that android Human Torch, is what was used to build Vision.
Oh man, they're all one guy.
So anyways, let's go over Captain America's publication history and his origins and notable stories.
He's been around for a long, long time.
He is. So, in a way, the first Avenger is kind of accurate because he is probably the oldest property that Marvel owns.
Oh, all the other guys Marvel didn't own.
Well, no, all the other guys didn't come into existence until like 1960s. There's a few that have carried over from 1940s, but so Captain America's first appearance, his first issue, was Captain America issue number 1 in 1941.
I understand. So his character came into publication and came into being far before the other members of the Avengers. Although they created the team before him.
That's
joining.
right. That's right. So Captain America was first published before Marvel. The name Marvel, the company Marvel, was even a thought.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So when he first came out, the publication was Timely Publications.
And who wrote? Who's the author?
So, well, actually, it was Joe Simon was the writer, who was the creator who came up with the idea of Captain America, and the first artist was Jack Kirby.
Wicked.
Yeah. So that's the tie-in. So Jack Kirby is he's the one who originally drew for Captain America. And Jack Kirby with Stan Lee were the creators of like Fantastic Four and Spider-Man.
So it only took a little time for everyone to kind of meet each other and for him to blow up as a major superstar.
That's right. So Captain America issue number 1, 1941, Timely Publications. Joe Simon came up with the idea. He sketched it out and originally had the name. So picture Captain America, right? So he's drawing out this superhero, this well-built superhero, and wearing the American flag as his costume, wearing this, sporting this American flag colored shield,
the kite shield originally.
The kite shield, yeah, and was named. So at first he was named the Super American, but he figured out that there is too many heroes with the name Super, and not that many with the name Captain. Keep in mind, this is 1941. There wasn't that many superheroes with the name Captain. Captain Marvel might have preceded Captain America.
Maybe.
But they were created roughly around the same time.
Yeah.
So he went with Captain America rather than the Super American, thankfully.
That would have been a regrettable decision if they stuck to that.
Yeah, I don't think he would have had a success.
No, he would have fizzled out at some point.
Yeah.
As soon as like wartime, propaganda and all the huff around that and the whole American agenda goes away, and
yeah,
I'm sure he would die right with it. But being captain, longevity.
Yeah, just sounds better.
Sounds better for sure.
Yeah. Although today I'm gonna go do a couple of name drops, and it's just going to reaffirm how comics are not only weird, but they are lame.
Very repetitive.
No. You'll see.
Okay, lay it on me.
All right. Well, first of all, so while doing my research, I found out some interesting things.
Okay, what?
All right. So for the first issue of Captain America, came out a year after World War II first started, and it was a full year before the attack on Pearl Harbor ever happened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so just to set the time period of when the first issues of Captain America came out.
So it was right in the heat of the war.
Yeah.
Right in the thick.
Yeah, and so the first issue of Captain America shows, you posted it on Instagram, shows Captain America punching Hitler.
Yeah, him just knocking out Hitler.
So,
middle of a room, and bottom right you see the introduction of Bucky, and
yeah.
Boom, there you go, here's Cap. This is what he's all about.
Yeah, punching Nazis in the face.
Yes.
That issue sold nearly 1 million copies. This is 1941. Yeah.
That's like anyone with 5 cents rubbed together, they're throwing their nickel at that.
Pretty much.
Oh my god.
But the really interesting thing, though, is that it was mixed bag. So it was very well loved, but at the same time, they got death threats for that issue. They had menacing groups loitering in front of their building. They actually had to have police protection.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just from people not
liking the American propaganda and yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Different times, huh?
Different times. So as Justin mentioned, Captain America's first shield was the kite shield.
Yeah.
By issue 2, it got changed to the circular shield that we all know. And the reason for that was because
much more aerodynamic.
Well, there's that, but the real reason why they
he was
did
able to throw it as an offensive
no, not even
projectile?
That's not even the reason why.
Because he used to carry a sidearm with the kite shield as well.
Yes. So you could think of all the different logical reasons why they changed it, but there's actual real life implications behind it. So what was going on? Who just
Danish Fury has followed.
Oh, excellent.
Thank you for the follow.
Welcome. No, the interesting thing was that MLJ Comics, which is now known as Archie Comics.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So MLJ Comics, they were publishing superheroes at the time as well, and one of the superheroes, his name was The Shield. And The Shield, his superhero costume was a kite shield with the American flag on his chest. It looked exactly like Captain America's shield from that first issue. So to avoid legal issues, they changed it to a
let's
circular.
switch this real fast.
Yeah, so by issue 2, it was a circular shield.
It's always something legal or some
Yeah.
copyright issue or something.
Yeah.
Right? Like even in today's MCU, the films, there's always a character they don't own.
Yeah.
Or some part of the plot they can't tell.
Yeah.
Just copyright.
That's right. That's right. Copyrights preventing us from having the story that we were meant to have.
Damn you!
Although this change to the circular shield was probably a good call too.
Yeah. One of the reasons, though, I found was because it was a lot more aerodynamic and you could throw it.
Yeah.
It would rebound and kind of stuff like that. He gave up using his sidearm piece
Yes.
in exchange for using it as an offensive projectile.
That was the reasoning. That was the in-comic reasoning.
In-comic reasoning.
That's
given,
right.
Yes. But out of comic, we know the truth.
Yes. But issue number 3, Stan Lee worked on that issue.
Oh, and when did he introduce it?
And Stan Lee was the one who introduced the idea of Cap using the shield as a projectile and having it bounce all over the place and return it back to him. That was Stan Lee that introduced that to Captain America.
He always adds some kind of cool twist to every character that he's influenced.
Yeah.
Good old Stan.
Yeah. So after the war, Captain America led Timely's first superhero squad that was called the
Invaders?
No. So this is where I said that comic book names are lame. All right? The All Winners team. I shit you not. The All Winners team.
Did they lose?
Well, no, they're all winners. So the members were Captain America, Bucky, Human Torch, Toro, Submariner, Wizard, which is a terrible fucking name, Miss America, the Blonde Phantom, and Angel.
So Angel is mutant?
No, different Angel. This is
Different
just
Angel.
just like just a normal guy. I didn't read up too much on Angel. The Blonde Phantom is some blonde chick, kind of like an early Black Widow kind of. She's kind of
some kind of assassin.
Yeah, spy. Yeah, but she's blonde.
Okay.
Yeah. Toro is Human Torch's sidekick.
He's like another Human Torch, is he not?
Yeah.
Like there's a big one and
a shorter one. Yeah. So that was Toro. Toro and Bucky ended up forming a team themselves.
Oh.
Kind of like the Teen Titans. They formed the Young Allies.
Little sidekick team.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah. So let's go back to here.
Because this is all during like the first few issues. We're introduced all these characters.
Yeah.
So I think within the first couple issues, we finally get introduced Red Skull.
Yes.
Big nemesis.
Yes. So I haven't gone into the origins yet, but Red Skull was his nemesis throughout the 40s, because his last issue was 1949, Captain America issue number 73, 1949. So he went from 1941 to 1949.
Pretty good run for a villain.
No, Captain America.
Oh, Captain America. That's his first series.
Issue number 1 was 1941. Last issue was 73 in 1949.
Because when he gets reintroduced, it's on the team.
You'll get
the Avenger team.
Yes, in 1964.
Right.
Yeah. So, Red Skull was a villain throughout that. Nice. Welcome.
Yeah, Art of Jacks. Made it to a live show. So exciting. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you're enjoying. Any questions, feel free to ask.
Absolutely. As I did my research, randomly I decided to research on Toro. Toro is actually human. He's actually a mutant. They don't actually call him a mutant. They just found out one day that he was immune to fire. Fire didn't harm him. So he joined a circus, and that was a circus act. Is that he could just walk through fire, it didn't harm him at all. But the Human Torch found out about this, so he went to this circus act and found this teenager that's like doing these fire tricks. And when they meet, it somehow activated his latent fire, his combustion abilities, and make himself go
to self-ignite.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So like, if he never came to find him, he would have only had that limited capability.
Yeah, just I'm immune to fire.
Still a good one.
Still a good one, yeah.
Still a good one.
Yeah.
You should be a fireman.
Yeah. Well, a sensible person would have done that.
If that's me, I'm going to rush into buildings.
Yeah.
Comics are silly, though.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay, so
what issue do you have here?
This is Civil War, actually.
Oh, so we'll get to that. We'll save that one for a little bit.
Yeah, I just brought this with me because this was the comment that I had with Captain America as a prolific picture on it. Like, I don't have that many comics with Captain America on the cover.
No, but that one's a good one because we've already mentioned it, and that is his third movie, right? Although they didn't.
Civil War is much different.
There's some variation.
Yes,
we'll get to that.
Yes.
Because this episode will essentially go to Civil War. We're not going to cover the events of Civil War today.
No, because there's just too much. Just like how we did with Thor and Hulk, we're just going to go all the way up to Civil War because at Civil War and after Civil War, it's just too much to cover in one episode because it's event after event. It's Civil War, and then Secret Invasion, and then Dark Reign, and then Fear itself, and then...
it just goes on and on, event after event after event, and it's just so convoluted and.
But not convoluted, just
timelines change.
All of these
multiverses crash.
Yeah, well, that's it. All of these are crossover events. It's not like just one big event of Captain America. It's one big event of all of Marvel.
It's a lot to digest at once. So we figure we'll bring everyone up to speed on
the major players,
all the major players involved, and then we'll cover the event.
That's right.
And then we'll bring you to the next leg of the journey.
That's right. So here's something else that I found out about is that in 1963, Strange Tales number 114, they did an issue with starring Human Torch and the Johnny Storm Human Torch, not the Android Human Torch, but Johnny Storm Fantastic Four Human Torch called Captain America, and Human Torch was doing an exhibition show, I guess, with Captain America, with the tagline saying, a legendary World War II and 1950s superhero who has returned after retirement. And they did some exhibition bout, I guess, and but at the end of this 18-page story, it's revealed that this Captain America was actually an imposter. It was actually it was the villain called the Acrobat that Human Torch had fought previously.
Really?
Yeah, he was actually pretending to be Captain America while his two friends were robbing a bank.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So he convinces Human Torch to just play fight with them.
Pretty much. Pretty much. And then at the end, Stan Lee had this thing written stating that this was kind of like the test of waters. They wanted to see how much people would want to see Captain America come back. And the response was overwhelmingly positive.
That's awesome.
Which is why they brought back Captain America in 1964.
Oh,
yeah.
That's why they brought him out of the ice.
That's right. Well, they introduced that entire thing, and the ice thing was not introduced until 1964.
He had just disappeared.
The comic just stopped being printed, yeah.
So they got to introduce the idea that, hey, guess what? We had to stop portraying comics because he's been lost in ice.
That's right.
And now he's hit the thaw due to the Human Torch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So it was the event. So let me go to origins and notable stories now. So that was going through his publication history, really. So for origin and notable stories. So origin, he was born Stephen Grant Rogers in Lower East Side, Manhattan, which is a nice thing that they kept with in the movies in Civil War. That one part where Spider-Man is holding up the ramp, the airport ramp, and Captain America is asking, I recognize the accent. Where are you from? And then Spider-Man answers back. I think he says Brooklyn. No, he's not from Brooklyn. He's from Soho. Queens. That's what he said. Queens. He said Queens, and Captain America replied Manhattan. And then yeah,
because his parents both passed when I think he was kind of younger.
That's right.
His mother of what was it? Pneumonia.
Yeah, his mom. So his dad died when he was still a kid. His mom died when he was a teenager, and she died of pneumonia.
Right.
Yeah.
And after that, I believe, after seeing some propaganda on the news about the Japanese and Nazi forces overseas in Europe, the destruction, he decided to enlist.
That's right.
He was always
frail,
sick, weak. Like he was not a fit aptitude or not a high tier candidate.
No.
I'd say.
Well, he was an artist. He was an illustrator and a comic book writer. Yeah. He was essentially comic book writers writing themselves in as how they would become a superhero. What would have to happen to them to become a superhero, essentially. Because that's what he was. He was just a tall, skinny, slender illustrator and comic book writer.
Mm-hmm. He was Stanley.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's not like a football star or anything like that. And so he enlisted for the army because he has the heart, he has the courage, but they just wouldn't have him because he would have been useless.
Yeah, he got turned away, got rejected.
Yeah.
Upon pleading and begging and begging. I got the name here.
I'll let you say it. I have it written down. I know exactly what it is.
What's his name?
Oh, you're looking for the
general's name? General Chester Phillips.
Okay, I
U.S. Army.
didn't write his name, but yeah.
Yeah, so he basically offers Rogers the opportunity to take part in the top secret experiment, Operation Rebirth.
Yes.
Operation Rebirth is the Super-Soldier Serum.
Yes. It was experimental. It was given to him by Dr. Joseph Reinstein.
That's actually a cover name, I believe.
Yep.
It's Dr. Abraham Erskine.
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 Yeah. But yeah, so
code name Joseph Reinstein.
Yeah. So what's happening here is that in the original comic, it was Dr. Joseph Reinstein, and then in the 1960s and 70s, they redid Captain America's origin, and then when they did that, they remade that origin. They renamed that scientist as Abraham Erskine, German, but that's not part of the Nazi Germany.
Yeah, he basically fled.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come work for you guys.
Yeah, pretty much.
And now during this experiment, this Operation Rebirth, I believe this doctor's killed, like mere minutes after giving Steve the Super-Soldier Serum.
That's right.
By a Hydra spy who was in the room at the time watching this all go down.
That's right.
And he had not actually copied the serum to paper yet.
No, he had no intentions to. The scientist, for some reason or another, he didn't believe in writing stuff down.
Right.
I don't know what kind of scientist does that, but
A super secret soldier serum one.
scientist, yeah.
Yeah. So
A secret super soldier serum scientist.
that's the one. So he never wrote nothing down. So he had this awesome formula to create these supermen, and he was just killed without ever telling anyone the secret. So Steve Rogers is the one and only candidate who's ever truly gotten the original serum.
Yes.
The original serum. There's been knockoff variations and twisted ones, such as the ones given to the Winter Soldier.
Yep.
And his other counterparts that we see in the Winter Soldier movie, I believe.
In Civil War.
Yeah, and
Winter Soldier, yeah.
I believe even Red Skull, was he tampered with at some point with a variation of it?
Yes, he was, yeah. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, and Red Skull's actually uber powerful in current continuity.
Oh, wow. Like, way more strong. Way stronger now
Yes.
than he used to be back in the 40s?
Yes. To skip ahead, and spoilers, yeah, Red Skull has Professor Xavier's powers.
Gave him that.
Himself. When Professor Xavier died at the end of Avengers vs. X-Men, Red Skull got a hold of the body and took the brain out, and then used the brain to give himself Xavier's telepathic abilities.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Uber powerful.
Yeah.
So now he whoops Captain America.
Pretty much whoops anybody's ass. The question I have about that is, if Red Skull has Professor Xavier's powers, what's prevented him from just outright killing everybody?
Is that no one to rule if everyone's dead?
Well, then I think that's the thing. Is that Red Skull's not out to kill the world; he's out to rule the world.
Yes.
And he doesn't want to use his powers to force people to follow him. He wants them to follow him willingly.
Yes. Yes, he's not the all evil. Well, he is the all evil.
Yes. But anybody who opposes him, he could just melt their brain right there and then.
Or convince them to willingly.
Well, no, that's not willingly. He knows that he forced them to follow his orders.
No, but he can mind fuck them and convince them that they did it. They chose.
But he'll still know.
He'll still know. So it's the guilt. It's the conscious.
Well, there's
so
no
he has some conscious.
What's-
That's the problem.
It's not consciousness. There's no satisfaction to it. It's like me when I quit smoking and I tried to replace it with a vape pen. And there was no satisfaction of butting out the cigarette. So with Red Skull, there was no satisfaction of turning this person to his way of thinking. He's forced his will onto somebody else. It's not the same thing as
It's true.
convincing somebody to see his way of thinking.
All right, you make a good point there, Mitch.
Yeah. But anyways, let's go back to Captain America and his origins and whatnot. Forms of friendship. So he ends up getting assigned to Camp Lehigh's. Camp Lehigh? Lehighh.
Let me read it. I remember which camp this was, but I gotta
Camp
pronounce
Lehigh.
it. Where the hell am I looking here, buddy? Oh, Camp Leahy's. Leahy's.
Alright, yeah. Yes, yeah, he ends up joining camp, gets assigned to Camp Leahy in Colorado, I think it was. And that's where he meets the mascot, the teenage mascot, Bucky, or James Buchanan Bucky Barnes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my question is, how many military bases has teenage mascots?
You're asking questions that weren't meant to be asked. Red Skull was willing to kill people. No.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, anybody who tries to oppose Red Skull, if he can't make them change to his way of thinking, he'll just outright kill him. Well, with the power of Xavier, he can just melt people's brains. Or just turn them into a child, a vegetable. Kill their brain completely. Or turn them, or force them to go and kill their loved ones and then kill themselves.
Or just join his army.
Well, once again, no, he wouldn't do that. He would kill them before he would force them to join his army.
Really? Yeah, I guess. Because he doesn't want untrue followers.
That's right. That's right.
Sensible.
No.
Not.
So then Captain America was given the vibranium circular shield that we all know by then President Roosevelt. Yeah. And then in late April 1945, during the closing days of World War II, Cap and Bucky try to stop Baron Zemo. This is the retelling of Captain America's origins as told in the 1960s after the character is revived.
Yeah.
But what happened was in 1945, in the closing days of World War II, they were against Baron Zemo, another one of Captain America's villains. Zemo, Helmut Zemo was the villain of Captain America: Civil War. He never wore a mask, so you wouldn't know he was a villain. But he's the one who orchestrated the entire thing. That was Zemo. Well, his father, Baron Zemo, was a Captain America villain in the 1940s and whatnot. And he was trying to destroy this drone airplane by strapping explosives on it. And then Captain America and Bucky followed suit, trying to stop it from exploding. Bucky got on the thing, tried to disarm the bomb, and then they both fell over. Bomb exploded. Captain America fell into the North Pole and got cased in ice in suspended animation.
So the comic variation is what we saw in the movie variation with Red Skull instead of Baron.
That's right.
Gotcha.
That's right. Funny enough, though, I always thought it was against the Red Skull when Captain America fell into the ice. And then in where was it? I think it was in the Spider-Man cartoon. It was in Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes cartoon. In that, they had to introduce Red Skull in there, but they had to introduce Helmut Zemo. And in there, they show the origin of Captain America fighting Zemo, landing in ice. And I thought that was wrong. But now I'm finding out that's actually accurate.
It's funny how, they change everything, so it's hard to know what's canon.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like how I'm always correcting people about the origins of Venom. People always say, oh yeah, didn't Venom land on Earth from John Jameson's spaceship? No, that's from the 90s animated series, but no, that's not his actual origin at all.
If you want to find out what is, check our episode 1 of season 1.
Yep. Alright, so then it was the Avengers
reboot, and what is that, 63?
64.
64?
64, Avengers issue number 3 is when they find Captain America encased in ice in the North Pole.
That makes sense, because then it establishes the first few episodes, or first few issues, the team forming.
Yeah.
And then having to find him.
Yeah, well, issue 2, Hulk ends up quitting the team. So...
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. Just let him be. He'll be back.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to mention about Captain America before I got too far, that was really interesting about his first issue in 1941, is that when you think back at all the episodes we've done so far, of all these origins, all these beginnings of these characters that started in the 1940s, they all started in anthology series, action comics, detective comics, strange adventures, strange tales, all these different anthology titles. Nobody really started in their own titled comics, where there was no other stories to back it up. It was just the story of this one character. And Captain America issue number 1, it was just Captain America. His first appearance was his first self-titled issue, and there was no backup story to it. It was just Captain America's story.
I think the reason why they were able to do that, though, is the war.
Yeah.
That was the backup story.
Yes.
That was the ongoing upsell and reason.
Yes.
And hey, sell to your audience.
Yeah.
It's great marketing. It was a good idea for the time. It's capitalizing on current affairs in the world.
Yeah.
So he survived.
Yeah.
A long time past, obviously, what he was made for.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. So after Captain America joined the Avengers, he quickly took over the role of leader of the Avengers.
Whoa, he became captain?
Pretty much. He ended up... Avengers had a kid that was following with them, Rick Jones. And Rick Jones was the kid who was actually almost blown up by the gamma bomb the one that Bruce Banner ends up saving.
Right.
That was Rick Jones. Well, Rick Jones ends up hanging out with the Avengers, and Captain America ends up taking him under his wing, kind of
Like Bucky.
Kind of. Rick Jones wanted to be Captain America's psychic, but Captain America was, at this point, just brought back to life and was told what happened, right? Bucky died under his watch. So Captain America didn't want Rick Jones to be the next Bucky, to be a psychic. He didn't want to be responsible for the death of another teenager under his command. That's the other big difference between the comic and the movies. In the movies, they depicted Bucky as the same age as Captain America, as Steve Rogers. As a matter of fact, they depicted him as quite fit, and like he was a stereotypical soldier-looking guy, whereas Captain America was very thin and skinny and whatnot. But in the comics, Bucky was like a 15-year-old child.
Yeah, like there's some points that they got wrong, I'll say.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say wrong. I mean, like, could you imagine them making a movie of Captain America's origin with a teenager as a psychic?
Some beefy teens out there, dude.
Well, yeah, but
nowadays,
yeah, I don't think it would have flown.
No, it wouldn't have flown well. Be like, what are you doing here, kid?
Yeah, no.
Now, piece of information to add for his first lineup, I believe. Mm-hmm. I think he crossed over and worked with James Howlett a few times during the World War II.
Oh yeah. So a lot of things that they come up with different stories throughout his publication later on. Like at this point in time, right now, Wolverine's not even a thought. He hasn't been created. Yeah. But later on down the line, when you start going over origins of Wolverine and backstories of Wolverine, you find out that Wolverine, James Howlett or Logan, what served with Captain America during World War II.
Prior to him ever being Wolverine.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, the same with Nick Fury. Mm-hmm. So in the 1960s, shortly after he got revived and became a member of the Avengers, he ended up meeting up with Nick Fury again, who they were longtime friends from World War II. And Captain America ended up doing some... frequently started doing jobs at Avengers with the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Taking on whatever missions that require him.
Yep. And it was while working for S.H.I.E.L.D. when he ends up meeting S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Sharon Carter, who he ends up forming a relationship with.
Yeah.
Who he had a relationship with her mother or her grandmother? Is her grandmother?
I forget.
Peggy Carter?
I think it was her grandmother.
I think it was her grandmother. It was, yeah.
Was it?
Well, that's what it was. It was to appeal to the younger generation. That's why Spider-Man was so popular. It's because Spider-Man was the first superhero who was a teen didn't start off as a psychic. He was a teen superhero. Well, so Human Torch was as well, but Human Torch was part of a family dynamic team. Spider-Man was his own superhero, and he was a teenager. That's why he was so successful. I mean, you had all the psychics. You had Robin, you had Speedy, you had Kid Flash, Aqualad. All these psychic characters are all teenage, but they were psychics. They were never written as strong as the main protagonists.
They're always works in progress.
That's right.
Still evolving.
That's right. Where Spider-Man was the main protagonist, and he was a teenager. That's what made his appeal.
Yeah, because young readers read these comics in the hopes to one day, be great like these heroes, and then they see someone just a little older than them already doing it, or they're there helping this guy. It's like a motivation aspect to the younger readers. It's like, well, maybe I can do this. Look, he's doing it.
Yeah.
So it's just a relation thing. They're just trying to build the whole.
Aqualad is by far not the lamest name out there. I mean, like, I went through a couple of lame names already today.
Some bad ones. Well, here, we can go over the list of Captain America villains here. There's a lot of lame names. Okay, so Steve Rogers is faced against the Germans and the imperialist Japanese over the years, and some of the foes He battled along the way were George Maxson, who was an imposter Red Skull, the White Death, Legion of Unholy Beggars, the Dragon of Death, the Reaper,
the Legion of Unholy what?
The Legion of Unholy Beggars, the Reaper, the Black Toad, the Black Talon,
the Black what?
Toad,
the Black Toad.
The Black Toad.
Okay.
The Black Talon. Striker.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Crime. Mock Mikado. Masterman. And the Super Axis.
So yeah, Aqualad, by far not the lamest of names.
Oh, the list goes on. We got Togaro. Prophet of Hate, Agent Axis, the Shark, the Hyena, N2 and Mr. Sinister, Dr. Togu, Dr. Destiny, Snapper, Jack the Ripper and Turdu, Dormammu, that's a big baddie.
Yeah.
Hydra, the Hand, the Grandmaster, the Ringmaster, Baron Zemo, Colonel von Wagner, Fang, who later died at Hiroshima and thus became one with the Ever-Wraith, whatever that is, and the Butterfly. These are all villains of his he's fought over the years.
Well, that's...
or people he's encountered.
Yeah, because because in that list, they mentioned Zemo, they didn't mention Baron von Strucker.
Yeah. Oh, Striker.
It's supposed to be Strucker. Baron von Strucker is Striker?
Yeah.
Because Baron von Strucker is the founder, not the founder, he's like the main
They only listed him by last name, sorry.
Oh, okay. But yeah, Baron von Strucker. Who else? There was no mentioning of Zola, Arnim Zola. There's no mentioning of MODOK.
Yeah, the list goes on.
Yeah.
Tons of villains.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Captain America's fought who's who in Marvel.
Yes. Been around long enough, you'll kind of fight everyone. Yeah.
So then, still in the 60s, Rogers... still in the 60s, Captain America meets Sam Wilson, who he ends up training him, and then Sam Wilson becomes Falcon. Yeah. And they become, they even have their own duo comic series, and they become very close friends throughout all of Marvel history.
Wicked.
At one point, Captain America, so still in the 60s, still him reeling from being frozen in ice for 2 decades.
Still trying to readapt to the modern age.
Yeah, he gets disillusioned of the current state of America, of its government and the attitude of people who live in it and people who are in charge. It's a different world than the world that he left behind.
Absolutely.
So he got disillusioned by it all, and he ends up giving up the identity of Captain America. I'm no longer Captain America. So he went off as the name Nomad. And the literal definition of nomad is man without a country.
Right.
So he became nomad for a little bit, but then eventually he came to realize that what he stood for wasn't for the country America. And this is an idea. So, admittedly, when I grew up reading comics, I had no interest in reading Captain America. Captain America, an American propaganda character, why the fuck would I want to read that in Canadian? Right. So I never had an interest in reading Captain America. But what I read here is it's a good summary as to what makes Captain America a good character, why Captain America is not an American propaganda, and why I became a Captain America fan. I realized this about Captain America about 15 years ago. I realized that Captain America was actually a really cool character. It's that Captain America does not represent the United States of America. He has no loyalty to the current president or the government or the current laws of the United States. His loyalty, what he stands for, is the American dream. It's the freedom of rights. It's the
freedom of speech. It's your Bill of Rights, essentially.
Yeah, that's what
he believes in. That, not the current politics or the current government or the current president. He believes in what the country was founded on.
That's right. What they fought for in World War II.
Yeah, he says, you know what? I want everything that we believed in back then upheld now. Because that's essentially his big qualm with the country at large and the state of affairs that it's in.
Yeah, even though they won, they've lost a lot of what they were fighting for.
Yeah. And he's angered by it.
Yeah.
Now, something that I believe as part of his mind strengthening training and stuff, way back after he's given the Super Serum, the Super-Soldier Serum.
Yes.
He was put under rigorous training regiments by the military and by other fighters and taught all these combat techniques. And one of them was a mind strengthening technique. He got convinced that his past was not actually his past. So he convinced himself that he had a different brother and a different mother and his name was different. He convinced himself of all these different mind altering techniques. So in case he was ever tortured or tried to be manipulated for information, he couldn't give it. Nothing accurate.
Interesting.
Yeah. He remembers this way later.
Yeah. And so that's the thing with Captain America and the serum is, well, first of all, it was revealed later on that the serum was not an actual narcotic, because a narcotic, his body's metabolism would have eventually burnt it out.
Right.
It was revealed later on that what he was given was not a serum per se. It was not a narcotic per se. It was a virus. It was a living organism that bound to his genetic DNA, that changed his genetic DNA permanently. That's why his metabolism doesn't expel it. That's why when Red Skull created a clone of Captain America using his cells, it retained the powers of the serum because it was in his DNA.
Right.
A narcotic would not have carried over like that.
So you mentioned that there's a clone of Captain America?
Oh, man. Yeah. Well, first of all, it's Marvel Comics. Of course it's clones.
Clones everywhere.
Marvel Comics loves their clones.
Yes. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Well, when we get there.
Yes. Let's go back to my notes here. Returns. Yeah. So in 1980s, they introduced. So by the end of 1970s, Sharon Carter ends up dying.
Right.
At the hands of Red Skull. Red Skull used the Cosmic Cube to pretend to be Captain America, and that led to Sharon Carter's death. And then in the 1980s, they introduced a new love interest for Captain America. Her name was a law student named Bernie Rosenthal.
I don't think she's been introduced to the MCU.
I don't think so. But if they do introduce a character named Bernie Rosenthal, that's who she is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Assume she's going to get with Cap.
Yeah. But even me going through the 90s, so I didn't read Cap in the 90s, I have to be honest, but in the 2000s I read a lot about Cap.
Yeah.
There was no mention of her. I had no idea who she was.
So then she's trivial.
Yeah, pretty much. And then in the 70s, in the 80s and the 90s, Captain America, they started using Captain America as a way to tackle different social issues, which makes sense.
Justice causes and whatnot.
Exactly, yeah. So he tackled different things like homophobia, because his childhood friend named Arnold Roth ended up being gay. So that was a story against homophobia and whatnot.
Just to bring it to the public light and
That's right.
talk about it, get it out there and get it normalized.
Exactly.
Because again, in the years of these comics, things like that aren't, right? They're often hushed.
That's right, and feared. And yeah.
So they're like, we're going to talk about it. We're
Yeah.
going to make issues and issues and issues about it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, they talked about extreme idealism when he was fighting against the villain Flag Smasher. Flag Smasher is a villain who is pretty much, so you have Red Skull that's all about ruled by iron will. Everybody to make everybody subservient to his will. Flag Smasher, his idea is to unify the world. That there is no country, there is no religion, there's no nationality, and his purpose is to abolish nationalities, abolish individuality, abolish. It's not a terrible idea, honestly, but he ends up being this villain who does it at extremes, and he ends up being a Captain America villain.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also vigilantism with the Scourge of the Underworld. The Scourge of the Underworld is just a character, he's pretty much the Punisher. He just goes around killing villains. Essentially the Punisher.
Punisher's a great character.
Yes, he is. But yeah, and so I skipped a lot because throughout...
globalism.
Yeah, well that's what Flag Smasher is, but at an extreme level.
Yeah.
Yeah, as an extreme. He's
One Earth.
Yeah.
One train.
Yeah.
Not that far yet.
No. But yeah, that's all the notes that I wrote down on Captain America, because from here on out, like throughout the 80s, 90s, all leading up to Civil War, there wasn't really, like, Captain America was made the leader of, individual stories, and Captain America was more of a team than a guy who got individual stories. He did get individual stories, but nothing worth note, nothing that I would need to bring up for you guys to be aware of for upcoming stories with Captain America. Because it's very doubtful that they would use these stories as a story in a movie. And even if they did, it's so twisted in his history that it'd be hard to... Like, they could pick any story in Captain America's history and make a movie out of it. There's no way for us to cover all of that ground.
Oh, hell no. What we can cover is his powers and abilities.
Yes. So, I was about to mention that. So, yeah. So, the serum... a lot of people know gives him super strength and super speed. Essentially, what it does is it puts him at the peak physicality of a human being. So the strongest a human being can be, so like a world's strongest man, power lifter, the strongest a human being can be, the serum gave that to Captain America.
And as strong and as flexible and as fast, and he was put through rigorous gymnastics exercises and fighting exercises. And
essentially,
training.
exactly that, yeah.
He is the peak optimal of anything you could ever ask.
Of humanity, yeah. Strength, speed, agility, reflexes, flexibility,
endurance,
reaction,
longevity of life. Like
yeah.
He has much lower accelerated aging process.
Yep. But one thing that they don't mention a lot, or they don't put a lot of focus on, because it's not as visually, it also put him at peak intelligence as well. He's no scientist or anything like that. But yeah, the serum turned him into an instant savant of strategies. The guy always knows the perfect gambit to use at a perfect time.
Mm-hmm. Expert, tactician,
yep.
Team leader.
Yeah. He can dissect villains by observing their movements and their strategies, and pick out the perfect play to take down that character. It's why Captain America was the leader of the Avengers, and Captain America's representation of the Avengers. So compare the Avengers to the X-Men, or compare the Avengers to even the Justice League of DC. Captain America is a good perfect representation. The Avengers are not the most powerful members of Marvel. Sure, they have Hulk and they have Thor, but they also have like Black Widow and Hawkeye.
They have a bunch of humans.
Yeah.
Without powers.
Yeah.
With special skill sets. But how far is that going to take them in space?
That's right. Whereas the X-Men, they're all like these Omega level telepath and telekinetics, and people who control metal.
Fly and this and that.
Alter reality. And then you have the Justice League on DC side. You have Superman, you have Wonder Woman, you have a Martian Manhunter, you have the Flash.
They're all aliens.
But then you have the Avengers, very grounded, more in reality. Well, as grounded to reality as comics can be. And Captain America is by far not the most powerful character in Marvel. By far not.
No. He is one of the weaker.
Yeah, but he's fought who's who. And the reason why he's fought who's who is because he uses his team, his friends, his allies, his resources to the best of their abilities to take down these more powerful baddies.
Absolutely. Like, he's the captain of the team for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's been other Captain Americas. I did not mention these, but let's go over these other Captain Americas.
The imposters.
Well, not really imposters. So here's the thing. So we know how I said the last issue of Captain America was in 1949, right? Yeah. Well, they actually brought Captain America back in the 1950s to fight communists. But that was a failed experiment. They didn't last very long. And they just put him back on the shelf. They just, let's pretend that never happened kind of thing. But it happened. They wrote the comics of it. And then when they brought back Captain America from ice, the new origin story shows that he dies at the end of, just before the end of World War II. So how did he come back and fight communists and be involved in the Korean War? Exactly. So those were so they retconned it, saying that it was first it was a William Noslund who was Captain America from 1945 to 1946. And then Jeffrey Mace from 1946 and 1950. And then William Burnside from 1950 to 1954.
And these are all just people who wore the costume with no power?
Sort of. William Burnside had powers. William Burnside did have the Super-Soldier Serum. Alongside somebody else. I forgot the other guy's name. The other took over Bucky's. Mm-hmm. But they got the Super-Soldier Serum. But they didn't. It wasn't complete. They didn't have the Veda rays that's supposed to stabilize their mind to be able to take on the serum. So William Burnside was obsessed with Captain America to the point where he actually got plastic surgery and make himself look like Stephen Rogers. And he ended up doing, he obsessed over Captain America. He got plastic surgery, make himself look like him. Yeah. He found out about the scientists and found out about the serum and found out, trying to get as much information about the serum, like this scientist who didn't write anything down. He found as much information he can about the serum and rebuilt it. The part that he was missing was the Veda ray. And with that, he ended up, him and the guy who took place of Bucky, they ended up going insane. They started getting paranoid and started seeing communists everywhere. Anybody who was different, who looked different, are communists, and just really lost their minds.
That's not good.
Yeah, at least it's not another clone story. That's right.
Great point.
Yeah.
Clones just get irritating.
Yeah. The other guy that I'm forgetting his name right now, he ends up coming back as... he ends up taking on the name of Nomad after Captain America Steve Rogers takes the name of Captain America back.
Oh, so a permanent nomad stays just kind of roaming the world?
Yeah. I actually read comics with that Nomad, actually.
Really?
Yeah, he actually traveled. As a nomad, he traveled across the United States carrying a shotgun and a baby in a backpack.
Why a baby?
I only read a couple of the issues, so I don't quite know the full story behind why the baby.
Was it his?
I don't think so.
Stole a baby.
Yeah, but I just remember that I had a couple of issues, Nomad, and this guy carrying around a shotgun and a baby in a backpack.
Okay, we're going to put him on the list of meme characters we do on the...
Yeah. Then after that, you had John Walker. So when Captain America stopped being Captain America and became Nomad, John Walker ended up becoming Captain America.
Just to keep the image up?
Yeah, exactly. But he didn't stay as Captain America for very long because Steve Rogers took the mantle back. But John Walker ended up becoming the U.S. Patriot.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Don't we see U.S. Patriot?
U.S. Patriot is a main... in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
No, we haven't seen him yet, actually.
No, not in MCU. But he is a pretty reoccurring character throughout the comics.
Yep.
That pretty much brings us to Civil War, really. I mean,
pretty much. I think so.
Like I said, there wasn't a lot notable to talk about up to Civil War, but trust me, getting to Civil War, things pick up.
Yeah. Civil War is a major event, much different than what we got to see in the MCU film.
Yeah.
So when we do that event, because we haven't done it yet, we haven't actually done Civil War.
No.
That'll be one to not miss.
Yes.
We have a few more characters to catch up on, though, before we do.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind redoing Spider-Man before we did Civil War. Just to keep the Spider-Man in line with how we've done Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man. Just redo the Spider-Man episode and cover Spider-Man up to Civil War.
So did I do Iron Man?
Yeah, we still have to do Iron Man.
I don't think we've done Hawkeye.
No.
Scarlet Witch or Quicksilver.
Well, we did Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch.
Sort of. We did Scarlet
House
Witch.
of M.
Yeah.
Which was Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. That was Scarlet Witch's episode, really.
Yeah.
We haven't done Hawkeye. We haven't done Black Widow. We haven't done Falcon. We haven't done. Well, I don't know if we have. So I want to do the major players.
I don't think we have to do Falcon.
I don't think we have to do Falcon.
We might have to do Widow.
Not for.
Probably not for the.
No. For the major players, so Iron Man, Spider-Man, Captain America.
What villains?
Zemo is a major player. Who else is a major player and all that?
Ultron?
No. Ultron had nothing to do with it.
Not in the comic storyline.
No. It's pretty much it. Like all the other characters. Oh no, that's the Iron Patriot. War Machine. So actually, the Iron Patriot is actually Norman Osborn. We'll cover that when we do Civil War because Norman Osborn becomes an Iron Patriot during Civil War. So Norman Osborn is another one that we're going to need to cover.
Up to Civil War.
Yeah.
We already did.
Goblin,
but
we already did Norman Osborn actually, and
we pretty much took him till Civil War.
We took him to Civil War because there was a lot more for us to cover after Civil War.
So he's pretty much
another major player. Yeah, he's
so
a good.
Alright, so we got a few people here.
Yeah, we got a few major players. Probably should do Ant-Man before Civil War.
Probably.
Just because
he dies in it, doesn't he?
Well, Scott Lang does.
Yeah.
But we should cover him just because he's really important to the Marvel universe as well.
Yeah, I'm sure Kenny's got someone on the DC side though for us to do next week.
Oh yeah. This is just mapping out the Marvel
This
side.
is just soon to come. You're just getting behind the scenes sneak peeks here, so enjoy.
Yeah. So who do we got for DC? We had said we are going to do who next week?
Continuation on Green Lantern.
Green Lantern, right.
Part 2.
Alright, I left myself quite the task. I'm actually going to have to rewatch our Part 1 of Green Lantern just to see
what we've talked about, where we left off, and where we have to bring you up to speed on.
Yeah.
Alright. So we'll leave you with those thoughts for next week.
I recommend you guys to do that too. Check out our episode of Green Lantern, or Part 1 of Green Lantern. We're going to be covering Part 2 next week. It is on
YouTube.
I was going to say, it just hit YouTube last week.
So give us a follow and check out that episode that we're not left out. You have no, what the hell's going on questions, and you can actually ask us some questions of your own. Thank you, Part of Ajax, for doing that today. We love the engagement and the
absolutely.
I
want more interactiveness. This is why we do it live. If we didn't want interaction, we would just YouTube.
You got it. Now, if you guys have any characters that you do want to see in upcoming weeks, just let us know.
Yeah, let us know
here. Let us know on our Instagram. Let us know on Facebook. Whatever you want to do, just holler at us.
Check out our videos on YouTube. Leave a comment on the YouTube videos.
Yeah, if you want an event covered too, just let us know. We'll try and do it in the same manner that we did today, in the sense that we're going to bring everyone, all the major players up to speed, and then we'll do the actual event.
Yeah. So, one of my coworkers already made a request for us to do Avengers vs. X-Men. We're going to do that in line with so once we do all these major players, we're going to start doing event after event. One of those events is going to be the Avengers vs. X-Men.
Amazing. So we'll get to that, but that is a number of months away, I think.
Yes.
So thanks for tuning in today. This is episode 24 of Season 2, Worlds Collide. I'm Justin.
And I'm Mitch.
And we're tuning out.
Cheers.
See you guys.